Welcome everyone to SIEPR's Policy Forum on U.S. immigration, and happy Friday. I'm Mark Duggan. I'm the director of SIEPR and a professor of economics here at Stanford. And I would like at the outset to give a very big thank you to our co-sponsors for today's event, the Stanford Immigration Policy Lab. We hold at SIEPR these policy forums twice a year, and one of our goals is to really do a real drill down on, and in a significant way on a really important issue, and to try to bring more people into our orbit on some issues that are especially important in society today, and often some of the more controversial ones. And we inevitably at SIEPR, we put a bit of an economic policy spin on them, but we don't shy away from debate or disagreements on these things. And I want to thank all of you, especially the students, who are here today. For those of you who are taking econ classes, I hope you've gotten a sense of how economics can help inform and influence policy decisions. And if you're skeptical of that, then I hope today's sessions will change your mind on that. And in these policy forums previously, we've examined issues like the housing crisis, education reform, crime and policing, healthcare, and so forth. And today's policy forum on immigration really couldn't be more topical. Just a few days ago, I mean, pretty much every day there's something big happening in immigration here in the US and immigration policy, but just a few days ago, Texas and 6 other states sued the federal government to try to force an end to the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, which gives legal status to undocumented immigrants who came to the US as children. That lawsuit follows rulings by federal judges in California, New York, and Washington, D.C. that temporarily blocked the Trump administration's plans to end DACA. Meanwhile, a caravan of Central American migrants who just made their way to the California border has attracted a lot of attention and highlighted some new strains between the U.S. and Mexico. Of course, this is all happening against the backdrop of an American policy shift that has put international trade deals, multinational agreements, and tighter borders on the table. Our panelists today are going to talk about some of these specific issues, I'm sure, and we'll try to put these current events into a broader context. And our first session, I think, is I'm really thrilled to have with us 2 Stanford faculty, Professors Ron Abramitsky and Jans, I didn't work on the pronunciation before, so I'm going to mangle this, and Jans Heinmuller. Okay, all right, thanks. Are going to kick things off with a broad discussion of the history and current state of U.S. immigration. Then we'll hear from Professor Feifei Li, who has an interesting perspective and immigrant story of her own, having moved here from China at the age of 16. We'll have what I'm sure will be a lively panel about the clash between federal and California immigration policies after that. And later this afternoon, we'll wrap up with a discussion on what it takes to really create immigration policies and programs. So let's jump right into our first panel. It's really a pleasure to have Jens Heinmuller with us here today. He's a political science professor here at Stanford and the faculty co-director of the Stanford Immigration Policy Lab. He also holds an appointment at Stanford's Graduate School of Business. His research interests include, of course, immigration and also statistical methods, political economy, and political behavior. And Jens is someone who doesn't just do academic research, which his work is terrific, but he's worked with governments and non-government organizations all around the world to try to design and evaluate policies involving immigrants and refugees. He has more than 40 articles and has published 3 open source packages. He received his PhD from Harvard and studied at LSE, Brown, and Tübingen. Okay, great, okay. And before coming to Stanford a few years ago, he was a professor at MIT. So Jens, thanks again for having the Immigration Policy Lab co-sponsor today's event, and welcome to SIEPR.